Andrew Tate has many interesting ways and techniques he's used to control the room with charisma. Some of them you haven't even noticed him doing, but it's effectively worked on keeping your attention. In this video, I will be breaking down his techniques of controlling the room and keeping the viewer hooked. Tate has a pretty interesting and smart way of controlling the room, and I'm going to get into that. But I'm going to first get into how I first found out about Tate. But I thought the nigga name was Tate. I didn't even know the nigga name was Andrew Tate. I thought his first name was Tate. That's how much I thought, like, you know what I'm saying? After that, I started watching a lot of TikToks from him. And like he kept coming on my For You page, like, cool eye, you like it, scroll. Oh, cool eye, you like it, scroll. And then I saw one video where he was saying, like, how, like, having kids is very important. I was like, man, that's dope. I like that. So then I started watching a whole bunch of TikToks. And I started effing what he was saying in his message. And then that's when I started listening to podcasts and interviews. And this is how he controls the room. He controls the room with stories. I've watched at least 5 interviews full on, like the whole interview with him. I watched the one with him with Richard Cooper. I watched the one with him with Fresh and Fit. This is while I'm at work, so it's not like I'm like just watching it. I'm just listening while doing my job. So I watched the one with Richard Cooper, which is entrepreneurs in cars. I watched the one with Fresh and Fit. I watched the one with the psychiatrist or the psychologist. And I watched the one, actually, I think I watched 3 more. I watched like 3 or 4 more, right? And I hear the same story. The story is, he tells like the same story. Like his upbringing was that he called in these 4 girls to do the webcam business. 2 of them said no. 2 of them said no and left. 2 of them stayed, and he's still been with those 2. And his analogies are always the same. Whenever there's a conversation about females and male, if they're equal, he says, if you would go on the plane, would you want a male pilot or a female pilot? And I mean, most time people are gonna say male pilot. And this, I kind of do this too, where like you use the same analogy. This is the perfect thing to do whenever you want to control the room, whenever you want to have good arguments, you want to have good debates, and you want to effectively debate, literally use the same analogies, because you're going to perfect every time. You're going to say it in a way every time that where you know, like, it's hard to like kind of defend what you say. And what's another story that he usually says when he's controlling the room or he's answering something? That goes to say that is a great way as just a content creator, because I've noticed with self-improvement videos, you can say you a lot. Like, you can meditate, you can read, you can do cold showers. But instead of doing that, get more into of your story. So instead of telling someone to meditate, do cold shower, just say, hey, I was able to change my life by doing these key habits of meditating, taking cold showers, doing this, doing that, and give a story of how you was able to progress in life. And that's something that some self-improvement and finance YouTubers lose, is that they're not telling stories. And people fall in love with the personality in the story of a person. People watch movies, you know what I'm saying? Like, the movie always have a lesson. And most of the time, when you think about it, most movies have the same ending. The good guy, he was unattractive, bad, blah, 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 not really popular. Then he became popular, more attractive. He became better. And then the good guy becomes winning, and the bad guy loses. We done seen the same plot in every movie, just differently. And that also shows that repetition is very important within success. Y'all see my thumbnails. I literally I reframed all my thumbnails. All my thumbnails are literally the same. You see me like these. You see me like these, you know what I'm saying? The same color title, the same color frame. Repetition is very important. Make it where you repeat things so much that it sticks to people. And make it where the things that people see from you, the things that people hear from you, and the things that people feel from you is repetitive. Make sure it's repetitive. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, even like my conversations, if you ask a lot of people that I talk to, they say that like I know how to really have a good conversation. Like, I go on hours and hours. Like, bro, y'all look at my podcast when I'm talking to my niggas, my nigga Justin, Jaden, Chris. That done seen the podcast what I had with them, and I'm asking them great questions. I'm asking them hard-hitting questions that really make them think about it. Not where it's just like, oh yes, this, oh yeah, this, oh yeah, blah blah blah. It's hard-hitting questions to where it's kind of, I never noticed that I used to do shadow work with people, but literally the questions that I asked with people were literally shadow work questions. But I'm gonna get onto that. But when I was saying with repetition within my conversations, I asked people the same questions. The question I was like, oh, do you think the fear of failure is more motivating than the thought of reward? I asked my brother that before. I asked my girlfriend that. I asked Jaden that. I asked Justin that. I think I asked my mom. No, I didn't ask my mom that. I think I asked my dad that. I literally, and it's kind of dope because you get so much different perspectives on one topic, and it's like you already know what to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that goes with another way of how I have repetition within stories and conversations, which is good of what Andrew Tate does to control the room. And the next thing I was talking about, what I was going to say I was going to get on to, how I do shadow work with people by accident. Like, I ask people questions that kind of make them get more into their subconscious and think about things they never thought about. Like, when I there's another question that I ask people that I've asked a lot of people. I believe that the way people parent is how they was treated as a child. I said the way that people parent is a reflection of how they were treated as a child. They will either do what was happening to them or do the opposite. It's like the guy that's an alcoholic because his dad used to drink alcohol, and there's a guy that doesn't drink alcohol because his dad's an alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that we are a reflection of our childhood, and asking those questions can get really deep into like people trauma, and it basically doing like shadow work. Like I didn't even realize that I was like, I'm not saying being people therapists, but I was doing like shit that therapists fucking do. Like it was funny, but that's how people like you too. Like I actually was recently watching a video from Hamza, and it was I think it was something from How to Influence Friends and When. I think it's from that book where it's like genuinely be interested in other people. And that's how I am. I genuinely am interested in other people's stories, other people's beliefs, other people's ethics, how people think. And this is another way to control the room is by being genuinely interested in other people. Like everyone has an ego. Everyone likes talking to themselves. Talking about themselves. Everyone likes boasting. So once you realize that everyone has this type of ego where they want to just boast about themselves, bro, you can just easily ask people questions, listen, be like, nah, I feel you. And then, bro, now I know there's a video of how to control the room, but this is like conversation techniques that I do. I don't think people even recognize that I do it. But I do this conversation technique, not even like on purpose. It's just something I do naturally. But this is how you get someone to ramble on. You ask them a question, they will answer it. You say, yeah, I feel you, and then literally say exactly what they said, but say it in a different. I do this, bro. I do this with my friends. I do it with my girlfriend. I do this at work. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say you say it's the next day, type stuff. But yeah, let's say you say, how's work? And they'd be like, oh, work is trash. I feel very tired. It's making my body hurt. And I just hate it. It's just like my boss is annoying. So you'd be like, yeah, I feel you. I know how that can bother you. How like, you being tired, exhausted, you're having to move these boxes. So yeah, nah. So then they'll be like, yeah, like it's so funny. Like it literally happens every time. I will repeat it in a different way. And then they'll be like, yeah. And then they just go on more. Like it's so funny because a lot of people have situations where they'll say something, but they don't feel comfortable saying like everything, or they don't want to feel like they're ramble on or like start just talking about, chatting. You don't want to feel like you're just excessively talking. But then when you say yeah, and then you say it again and you say it and you repeat it in a different word, they would then be like, yeah. And then they'll just go on more about it, like more deep into it. And you can also do it where you say yeah before, then you say exactly what they say in a different way. And then you ask a question that goes into another thing, like that kind of acts more into that or around that same realm. And like literally, you can like have someone go on a ramble for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour. It's funny as hell. It goes within one of the laws of the 48 laws of power of say less than necessary. They're talking more and you're just asking questions and you're affirming what they're saying and you're asking questions about what they're saying. there's less opportunity to say some dumb shit. Like if you talk for 40 minutes, you talk for a long period of time. If you start rambling, you're gonna say something stupid. You're gonna say something that may be unattractive that they may not like. So if you say less than necessary, ask questions, be genuinely interested in what someone else is saying, they're gonna like you more because you don't have that much opportunity to say some dumb shit to be like, I don't know if I felt that one. And I mean, this is like, and it's funny because a lot of, and this is like sales skills. This is skills for relationships and talking to a female. Like we know that, you know, if she talks more about herself, she's gonna start to like you more. And also, this is another way of controlling the room because this is almost charisma, right? People like you. People will literally say, bro, I like this guy. And you don't even have to say nothing. All you have to do is keep asking them questions, agree with them a little bit, and show that you're really attentive and listening. And they'll be like, bro, I fuck with this nigga. And you don't gotta say nothing really. You know what I'm saying? But nah, man, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. My name is vDunkk. I hope you have a I messed it up. Nah, man, if you don't know, my name is vDunkk. I'm a comedian like my name is women from the girls mentally, physically, financially, and mentally. I think I said this mentally 2 times. But if not, network with future millionaires. I give you this ticket becoming a German boy. Use it wisely. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know some techniques y'all do when it comes to conversation, controlling the room, and having charisma. I actually may make a video on how to have charisma. I think I'm gonna make a video on that and like conversation techniques. I think that's something that I have a lot of like, you know, shit that I do to have good conversation and stuff like that. But nah, man, hope y'all enjoyed the video. I'm out. Gang.